Hello and welcome to the video. This is my first video on this thing here. This is the OMPHobby M4. Now this is a much larger helicopter from any of the other ones I've tried from OMPHobby before. Things like the M2 and the later M2 version with the better head. I'll put links down below if you want to go and have a look at those two videos. This is substantially bigger. And I've got this in from Steve up there at Scotia RC. This one is more of kind of a 500 class size, which is kind of what I used to think of helicopters when I first started to get in them. It's a pretty big beastie, but it has been designed with the help from a pilot called Jonas, and it is a little bit different from the other helicopters of this class and size that I've played with in the past. Specifically, it is direct drive, has a very big low kV motor which does away with the much higher kV motor and a kind of nylon reduction gear which drives the actual blade itself. So while I unbox it, let me go through some of the specs. So this helicopter, as I mentioned, has been designed in collaboration with an external pilot, a gentleman called Jonas, and I do think it's a nice step up after something like an M2 or maybe even an M1. It has a really interesting symmetrical compact swash servo layout that I'll show you in a minute, and it also has a direct drive rather than shaft drive through this very oddly shaped tail boom. But actually this tail boom works really well and means that it isn't going to rotate. It's very easy to align everything. It's capable of 3D tricks, but I think this is also a great option for those coming into this larger class because it actually has enough room and is relatively easy to work on, and there are an awful lot of metal parts in this box. We'll have a look in a moment. It is allegedly a lot quieter than some of the other 500 class helis that I've flown that are comparable in size because it is a direct drive system. Specs on this: it's 875mm rotor diameter, 190mm tail rotor. This is the main motor. This is the Sunny Sky unit at 205 kV, an absolutely beast of a motor that's going to drive the main blades and also via a belt run the tail as well. It's about 185mm from nose to tail when you're built. Flying weight's approximately 1.3 to 1.4 kilograms. It's going to need a 6S pack. Here's the swash. This comes pre-installed. In the manual, as I'll show you how to put it together in a moment, the manual's actually pretty good, and these sub-assemblies, things like here, are the blade grips and the feathering shaft for the tail. It's kind of all put together. You'll need to obviously take one end off to install them, but it means that all of the messing around with shims and thrust bearings and all that stuff is taken care of. And this second foam box, we have the 4 servos. 3 of them are for the swash and 1 is for the tail. First thing is the ESC. This is the 65 amp ESC that's mounted underneath the battery tray. Has a connector to go into the motor, as well as an XT60 at the front that's mounted so you can just plug the battery in, and then has a cable with 4 pins for the normal ground, 5 volts and throttle, but also some telemetry back about RPM 2. And then you have these really nice servos, metal geared. 3 of them are for the swash and 1 of them is for the tail. So just find the one that has the T code on it. That's the one that you're going to need to keep for the tail, and the others are all going to be the same, and they're going to be your swash servos. Again, you can buy this with and without the electronics. This is the PMP kit that I've got here that comes in all these separate parts. Again, a 6S flight pack is going to be needed. About 2000 milliamp hours will give you about 8 minutes of flight, or about 3 minutes if you're flying in 3D. And as you've seen, this PMP kit comes with all of the major assemblies, and it comes with a digital geared servo for the swash and tail control. They're all DS2312C. This is the rod that you're going to build the push rod to control the tail pitch out of. And you also get the ESC and also that big Sunny Sky V8108 205 kV motor. The rest of the parts are in this box. We have 1 single canopy, available in lots of different colours. Take note of the fact that all of these little bags are numbered. Unfortunately, it doesn't reference the numbers in the manual. I wish it did. It would make building these things much more like building a Lego model, but it does mean that each of the steps, the pieces go together. So you'll notice that there are kind of 201, 301 and others. So it's easy to keep track of which pack of bits you need to be opening for which piece. Now, to build this, you are going to need some additional parts that aren't included. So you're going to need some good quality hex drivers and Allen keys. You're definitely going to get yourself some Loctite. That is included in the kit. You're also going to need a decent sized clean area. There are some very small parts and screws that come in it, and each of the screws for the individual pieces of the manual are kind of in the bags along with the stuff, so it's nice. You can kind of keep track of everything you need, but it's very easy to drop a screw in the middle of everything, and there aren't a lot of spares in here. There is a little bag of extra bits, but I guarantee the one that you lose is the one that you haven't got a spare of. You're also going to need a bit of time and patience. I built mine from these parts and it took me about 4 hours. So be aware of that. This isn't something you're going to be able to knock out in an hour, hour and a half. To do it properly and take your time and thread lock absolutely everything, it is going to be the best part of a full afternoon or a full morning. Optional things that come in very handy for this: servo checker to center your servos is going to come in very handy, and also some ball link pliers, if you have them, are going to help you get the ball links on and off the different pieces. Now, in addition to all those pieces, you do get the manual as well. The manual is available to download as a PDF document from the Scotia RC website in the listing, so if you want to have a look through it, go and check that out. The build manual itself is very well written and very easy to follow, with each piece nicely showing you how it all goes together, and if you just take your time, then everything should go together nice and easily. If you feel like you're having to fight anything, I would stop and go back and consult the manual again, because the experience here has been that the tolerances and the way the pieces are all put together means that it is a very, very simple build if you are using the right screw in the right place in the right step. But there are a few areas to watch for in the build from my experience making it here. So I thought, rather than me just show you the entire process, which is detailed beautifully in the manual, let me talk about the gotchas, or the gotchas for me anyway. Personally, I wouldn't install the tail servo assembly until the very end. That means that fitting the push rod for the tail is easier. The actual servo itself is only held in by 2 screws, and you don't lose anything by not installing it until right at the very end when you're installing that push rod. Second thing, I had to remove the frame brace in front of the motor to route the cables that go from the ESC to the motor a little bit easier. So I potentially would leave that front brace out when you're building it and pop it in once you have the motor in place, because that large pancake motor has to be kind of pushed in the back in the notch, and then it'll drop into position. Landing gear and flight controller mount assembly is covered in one page, and there is lots on this page, so do take your time. It is easy to make a mistake with this. There's lots of details and lots of steps in one diagram. They could have probably made 2 diagrams out of this and made it a little bit easier to understand. And also on mine, I had to press in the bearings for the tail rotor assembly just a touch to get smoother operation. It was binding up a little bit, and it just took a little bit of work. And also the screws for the tail slider for the tail assembly were a little bit too tight from the factory. I had to back them out as well. Now, if you are a helicopter builder that's done this a lot, none of this will be news to you. It's all the little bits of fettling that you need to do to get the helicopter together and to make sure everything is working smoothly. But just be aware of this stuff if it's one of the first times that you've built something like this. The other thing that caught me out was the tail rotor assembly. Putting that together wasn't clear to me. Use the crossbar that goes through the shaft to lock it into the gear at the rear, and then all that is sandwiched together using the belt guides. I have never had a helicopter that does that. Apparently that's quite a common way to do it, so just be aware. Hopefully these images will help you understand exactly what you're doing with that, and it'll be a little bit clearer for you. You will also need 2 drivers to tighten the tail blade grips. You have to keep one still while you're nipping the other one up. Belt installation is okay, but care is needed to get it round that big front gear. Make sure that you're not damaging it. There is a very small amount of slack in the belt possible due to the support for the smaller pulleys and guides for the belt, and apparently that design has been done that way to allow for different sized front pulleys so that you can have different ratios between the head speed and the speed of the tail rotor. But it does require a little bit of work. Just take your time, make sure that you don't damage the belt. And once it's all together, I did test that the Holybro 6C Mini will fit because I'm interested in trying to make this thing fly with Adhere, and it does. Just. So now, after building this, I have a lovely heli to try and set up Adhere on. So there is a lot to like about this, and initial impressions are very good. I have particularly enjoyed the build. As I mentioned, the build took probably about 4 hours. Had to take breaks more for the fact that my back was killing me rather than anything else. Again, the manual is very well written, but be careful of those things that I've highlighted. If you just take your time and double check that you're putting everything in the right place and you're using the right screws, it'll go together pretty easily. All the components are nicely finished, and there seems to be a high level of precision and finish on all of the metal parts. I particularly like the swash servo cage. That is incredibly neat and really nicely done. It's easy to get to all the screws if you want to adjust the arms, things like that. And that simple 2-plate design for the body means that it's pretty easy to put together. All the screws are going into the same pieces, and that dramatically simplifies the build. Again, the direct drive, that big whopping pancake-sized motor, is not something I've had in this size before. I'm excited to get it flying because some of the other stuff that I've seen, this does seem to be an awful lot quieter than things like my old T-Rex 500 and others, where you did get quite a bit of noise from that drivetrain. And apparently this is a lot quieter, and I'm guessing part of it is due to the fact that it is direct drive. Flight time for this is only about 8 minutes with the battery if you're flying relatively lazily, and it's only going to be about 3 minutes if you're absolutely caning it and doing 3D, which this is absolutely capable of. It's a really nice size increase to go up if you're playing with smaller helicopters and you want something with a little bit more presence, with a little bit more mass in the head to do stuff. This is a nice move. However, there are a couple of things that I would draw your attention to. Extra care and attention is needed with helicopters. These are flying scythes of death, and you think that it hurts when you get hit by a prop from a plane. Wait until you get hit with something like this. My advice would be don't get hit. Make sure that you are testing everything on the bench with the blades off. Make sure you have your throttle cut. Make sure that you have everything triple checked before you fly these things. If you're coming to this from something like a multi-rotor and playing with things like Adhere, well, it's a very different kettle of fish. These are intimidating, and it's good that they are, because they are very dangerous things to fly. However, there is nothing like flying a radio-controlled helicopter for getting the heart rate increasing. The motor does feel a little bit exposed. There is the cage to make sure that the canopy doesn't press on it. The motor itself is an expensive piece to replace, so we'll see how that survives. Hopefully it isn't going to be falling on its side too much, particularly with a nice flight controller in it. There are reports of the canopy cracking. Mine hasn't done it yet. I don't know whether that was early kind of test units, but this one here seems pretty well made and pretty sturdy, so hopefully it will survive the rigors of removal and being put back on every time that you want to fly. And again, be careful, this is called a PNP version. However, it comes in pieces. You are going to need all of the things that I talked about at the beginning, plus you're also going to need a lot of time and patience too. So in summary, I'm very impressed with this. I love the way that it's gone together, and I'm excited to get it flying. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to put Adhere on here, set it up and get it flying and have an autonomous helicopter. Thank you for watching the video. If you watch my videos and find them useful, then please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. If you really like what I'm doing here, you can become a Patreon and support the time I spend helping others and get access to lots of exclusive benefits. Link is in the video description. Remember that all the videos on the channel are organized into playlists, so you can easily use those playlists to find all the videos on a subject that you are interested in. Add Painless 360 to your searches on Google and YouTube, and it'll help you find my content for any particular topic. Thanks again for watching, and as always, happy flying.